Most people turned it in, but I see a couple still out there.
It's right there.
Thank you. Did I miss you, Sam? I'm sorry. Good morning. We're looking at that same worksheet from yesterday. It says page 415 on the bottom.
Is there an extra paper?
Excuse me. Could you stop that, please? Can you look for yours a little harder? Maybe put away the Spanish and look harder for math.
Wait, was this the same one?
Same one as yesterday. So, Brody, just write down number 5 off of that one. Okay. This one starts out looking different. What do you notice?
You have some Y's on the same side.
You got Y's on the same side. So a first step for us in this one is going to get both of them into Y equal form. I think I'm going to move the top one over. Okay. In all of the problems, number 1, 2, 3, and 4, we had them in Y equals form. This time we have to do a little work. I am going to, do you want to move the X or move the Y?
X.
Okay, so I'm going to need to minus an X. Don't forget that subtract stays with the Y. I put negative X. I move this 6 over as a plus 6. Sam, are you writing this down?
Yep.
Good.
She's gonna fall on this. She's gonna go.
We'll be okay. Now I need positive Y. How do I get rid of a negative in front? Divide by negative 1. Divide by negative 1. Divide by negative 1. Okay, so again, we moved the X. This negative stayed in front of the Y, and our last step is fixing that negative. That makes this positive. That makes the X positive because there were 2 negatives. But positive 6 divided by negative 1, what happens to the 6? Negative 6. So there's one of our equations rearranged into a Y equals form. Now I'm going to do the same thing with the bottom equation. It's going to be a little bit easier, I can tell. If I want Y by itself, I have to move this 2X. How can I do that? Subtract. If it's added to the Y, subtracting is the opposite of add. On both sides, positive 2x, negative 2x have canceled out. Y is by itself. That was our goal in this first step. Negative 2x. Now I have 2 equations in Y equals form. Here's where we started yesterday. So these today are one step more complicated than yesterday. And what did I do with them in order to solve?
You gotta get them.
Yeah,
On one side.
combine like terms.
Well, not yet. We have to set up a new equation. Look at your notes. A lot of you have your paper right in front of you. We were working on yesterday. What did we do with equation 1, the equations in 2, the equations in 3, the equations with 4? We have them in Y equals form. And then a lot of times I'd show it to you with a box and a box. Okay. I'd also show you that both of these are equal to Y. What could we do with them if they're both equal to Y? Negative 2x equals x minus 6. So if this Y equals that Y, then this 2x, negative 2x, has to equal the x minus 6. So we made one equation, Guillermo, where we set the 2 functions equal to each other. Because we're saying one's a Y and the other's a Y. It's like saying this is Dom And this is, or this is Dom, and this is Miss Morell. And they both teach math. Okay, if they both teach math, and I'm trying to figure out what to offer for classes next year, I could have Dom teach Math 3, or I could have Miss Morell teach Math 3. They can do the same thing. They're both math teachers. Well, here, these aren't math teachers. These are both Y's. So that means these two pieces, I can count them as equal to each other. All right? So I got them into Y equals 4 and then looked at the other side and brought down the negative 2x here, brought down the x minus 6 there. Okay, Jackie, what do I do next? We could, but we want to get x's on one side, numbers on the other. Jerry. Let's see, let's get this x off of this side. Let's leave the negative 6 there and move all the x's to the other side. Now, whatever I'm doing on this side, I do on the other side, the equal sign. Now, I bring down a minus 6 equals, this is negative 2 plus a negative 1. What's 2 plus 1?
3.
So they're both, it's going to be negative 3x. When you're adding negatives together, you're just collecting them up. Okay? When you multiply, they change sign. Okay, I'm not done yet. One more step here. Kenya, what should we do next?
Divide.
Divide by minus 3. X equals negative...
Still the same problem?
Yeah. Negative 6 divided by negative 3,
2.
positive 2, and that's only half our answer. We need an x and a y. Okay, how do I find the y? I got halfway. What'd you do yesterday? Look at your work. Plug it in up here. I could replace that x, I could replace that x. They're both pretty simple. I think I'll use this one right here. Okay, so if y equals negative 2x, then y also equals negative 2 times 2, because I just found out x is 2. Negative 2 times 2 is negative 4. So here's an ordered pair. X is 2 when y is negative 4. And the big deal about this number is that's true for both of these functions. Both of these functions crisscross at that point. In fact, let's look at that. Get out your graphing calculator, turn it on, and go to y equals. Y equals. Clear out any old functions that are there. In y1, we're going to put y equals negative 2x. In y2, we're going to put y equals x minus 6. X subtract 6. There's our two functions in y equals form. I want to find where they intersect. So I'm going to go... let's check our window because, yeah, we were doing a problem with money or car prices. So let's change. These numbers look like I'm going to find them in the middle of a graph. Let's change this into negative 30 and positive 30 for both the min of the x and the y. Negative 30 and positive 30, scale of 1. All right, so either from 30 to 30 or 20 to 20, that's a good scale for most things that we think are going to crisscross near the middle. So now we're going to go intersect. We go second calc. Intersect is number 5. There's one graph. There's another graph. Okay? What am I going to do next to find the intersection? Enter. Enter, enter. What do you see?
X equals 2. I cut on my windbreaker.
2, negative 4. And there's what it looks like on the crisscross. I'm going to change my window to zoom that out. Or how about this? Zoom 0. Can I look at it even closer? No, it kept the same window. Yeah, that's worse. Okay, window, negative 10, window, mode, clear, window, negative 10, 10. I wanted to just show it to you a little bit better. Negative 10, 10, graph. Here's our function, and there's where it's crisscrossing. It's positive 2 over and negative 4 down. All right? Okay, number 6. Wait a minute. Do I like number 6? Yeah, number 6 is good. Step 1. Write the 2 problems. I think I'm going to not stack them this time. I'm going to write 4x plus y equals minus 3, and then over here a little bit, 5x minus y equals negative 6. We need them in y equals form. Let's deal with them one at a time. Sam, what do I got to do here to get y by itself?
Gotta subtract it.
What do I got with it? What
Y.
No.
Oh, to get y by itself, you have to subtract 4x.
Good. Minus a 4x here, minus a 4x here. Positive 4x minus 4x cancels, y is by itself. On this side, we usually write the x term first, that's the minus 4x. And then I got to move this number over a little bit to make room. That's the usual format. These two cannot actually add because this one has an x and that one doesn't. So we'll leave that one rest a minute. Now I'm going to go over here. Guillermo, what do I got to do first?
You gotta get y by itself.
Good. What would be a good first step?
Minus 5.
Awesome. Positive 5 minus 5, that canceled. This y has a negative. That's going to be an extra step, but I have to bring that negative down. Imogen, how do I write this side?
The rest of that?
Yes.
Minus 6.
Good. They both had minuses. We have to write them side by side because they're not like terms. Oscar, how do I get rid of that negative in front of the y? Nope. We did it on this. Divide by what? Awesome. Good job. Nice to have friends. Negative 1. Divide by negative 1. Divide by negative 1. Okay, we got to divide by negative 1 to get the y positive. And as it so happens, every single term was negative before, so now they're all positive. Plus 6. Okay, now here's the part people are rusty at. Sam Markison. What am I going to do next? I did what I wanted to accomplish. I got them both in y equals form. There's kind of a key step. Good, but I got to set up a new equation where I kind of like put them both together.
Substitute
What am I going to substitute?
the line.
Walk it around.
5x plus 6 equals negative 4x minus 3.
Awesome.
Or vice versa.
Yes. Okay, Sam, where did he get this 5x plus 6?
From the y equals 5x plus 6.
Awesome, there we go. And Christopher, where did you get this minus 4x minus 3? Mr. Bernal? Where did he get this minus 4x minus 3?
Really see it anymore.
Oh.
Next time the house.
Mr. Bernal, Where'd that come from? The y equals up here. So this one came down on this side. This one came down on this side. Here is the money question. Molly, why'd we set them equal to each other?
Because they're both in y equals.
They're both y equal. So if y equals y, the other side of the equations we can set equal to each other. Y equals y, so that equals that. Now, we've got a couple of steps to do to get x on one side, numbers on the other. Ernesto, what would you like to do first? One of these four things we're going to move. We can't divide yet. We have to either add or subtract, but do you want to work with that 4? Okay, so if I've got a minus 4, I'm going to add a 4. We don't divide until we only have one thing on one side and one thing on the other. Okay, so I've got to add a 4 here. I'm going to add a 4x to the other side. I added a 4 because we had a negative. Plus and minus cancel out. Martine, what comes down over here on this side? Negative 3 equals 5 plus 4.
9.
9x, and bring down the 6. Now I have all the x's on the right, so I want to move that 6. Chris V, how do I move that 6? Minus a 6, minus a 6. 9x equals negative 3 plus negative 6, negative 9. All right. Here's where we're going to divide because I have one thing on one side, one thing on the other. I'm going to divide by whatever's in front of the x to get that to cancel out. I want x by itself. Negative 9 divided by positive 9. Negative 1. That's half of our answer. Maybe I'm not even going to box it because this is not done yet. Now I take that x and I bring it back up to the top where I had y equals and I pick one. It doesn't matter. It will work in either. All right? Myra, you want me to use the right or the left? Right, it's random, it doesn't matter, but maybe she liked this one because it was all positive. Y equals 5x plus 6. I know what a version of x is that fits in this equation. Y equals 5 times negative 1. I'm replacing the x with the negative 1. Y equals minus 5 plus 6. What does y equal? 1. So here's the ordered pair. Negative 1, 1. That's where those two lines crisscross. Let's graph them and double check we did our math right. Okay. On. Whoops. Y equals clear, clear. Christian, what am I going to type in first? Good, negative 4x, and the negative is down low by the enter. So right here is a negative. Negative 4x, subtract 3. The subtract and the negative are different buttons. Here's subtract, here's the negative. Now I'm going to go down to y2. Sam, what am I going to type into y2?
You're going to type in negative 1.
Try again. I just typed in this.
5x plus 6.
Awesome.
Wow.
The buddy to that, or the second equation in our system is 5x add 6. I'm going to go intersect. So I'm going to go second calc.
Negative 1.
Oh, what did I do wrong? Y equals negative 4x minus 3, positive 5x plus 6. Oh, did I not do that yet? Okay. Second calc, intersect, first curve, enter, second curve, enter, guess. Aha, there we go. Did it match what we found out? So I see x is negative 1, that's what we found out for x, and y equals 1, that's where those two lines crisscross, okay? This is solving it by substitution, it's called, solving it algebraically by substitution. If I can get two things both equal to the same thing, I can set them equal to each other and simplify. And this is another way to do the same thing. If you have a graphing calculator, set them equal to each other. Okay, let's see. Don't like 7. Number 8. At your table right now, you're working on number 8. I want you to solve it by substitution first, and then go ahead and graph it with the graphing calculator. Yeah, let's not do 7. Maybe we'll do 7 together in a minute. And we'll just do it on the calculator.
Hey, Dad, so I get all that. We see that. Full gear mode.
And I picked 8 because if you do everything right, you will get whole numbers. Some of these give you fractions, but that one's a whole number answer.